Welcome to part 3 of my Dark Demon Realm read-through, in which I review it as I read through it. Again, we are not going to be showing all the pages that are found in this manga. How I like to do it is I read a chapter, and then after I read the chapter, I record bits of it and pretty much give my live review as I'm reading it. And I'll display a few pages just so you guys understand what I just read. So I just read chapter 12, and I gotta say it was a pretty good chapter. Definitely started off a little interesting. We get a tease at some Dark Demon Realm stuff going on with, I think it's Machikabura, in his younger form, really happy, saying that this Demon Realm is going to be resurrected. He's feeling good about himself. The Elder Kai sends off our Time Patrol to a history, and it looks pretty ruined in the scroll, so you're wondering, what is his history? But before they get there, it cuts to a page of Camel, I'm just going to call him Camel, a new character, Robel, and Demigra. And they're pretty much assembling to also go to this time period. Anyway, the Time Patrol gets here, and who do we see? Gogeta and Omega Shenron fighting. I thought that was a really cool reveal that instantly got me hyped. My mind just wasn't expecting this at all. So it was pretty exciting to see them, Gogeta and Omega Shenron fighting. And then the Time Patrol ends up having to fight the GT gang. You know, Bulma, Videl, Chi-Chi, Oob, Trunks, Hercule, Goten, and Gohan. And so they have to fight them, and they're like powered up or something from the bad guys. And then Toa is sending some sort of being after Gogeta from GT. We don't know what his name is yet, but this being grabs him and attaches to him. And so that was pretty cool. So you get the Time Patrol fighting the GT gang, and this is whenever the Time Patrol is aware that the Dark Empire is actually here. They're called the Dark Empire Army. That's Toa, Mira, Dabura, that's all of them. And then we actually see them make a powerful attack. Dabura is actually super powerful. He slashes through the earth, and it like causes a lot of damage. This is when Camel shows up with Demigra and Robel, and we actually see that. I was assuming that Demigra was probably, it was going to be three factions: Demigra, Toa, and the Time Patrol. But now it looks like it's Demigra reluctantly teaming up with the Time Patrol against the Toa side. So that's pretty interesting there. And then we actually get them labeled as the Demigra army, and Demigra has a cool new outfit on. He looks pretty cool. Anyway, Robo comes through and deactivates all this magic mumbo jumbo that's going on with the GT characters. And then we actually find out that Trunks didn't know that Camel was an ally of Demigra, which of course he didn't know, but they just wanted to let you know that he didn't know. And Robo pretty much tells them, hey, if we're going to win, you guys need to listen to me. Vegeta, Goku, you got to fuse. And then they fuse to make Gogeta, who looks pretty much identical to GT Gogeta. And I think that's probably because, you guessed it, we are actually going to have GT Gogeta possessed by that strange being that he was fighting earlier. Anyway, that was the chapter, and I gotta say, I really enjoyed it. I did not expect it to slap as hard as it did end up slapping. It was a lot of fun. I'm very entertained. The art was freaking fantastic. The action flowed super well. I'm just really excited to get into more of this story. I just finished chapter 13, and boy, does this just gets better and better. The fan service is strong. But you know what? The fan service may be strong, but it's actually getting into an interesting plot line. So the Dark Being, I still don't have a lot of elaboration on his name, but he is called Dark Gogeta whenever he's absorbed Gogeta. So we actually get Xeno Gogeta fighting him. Well, actually, he goes to fight Omega Shenron first, but the Dark Gogeta defeats Omega Shenron effortlessly. And the reason why Xeno Gogeta was going to fight Omega Shenron is because he needed the Dragon Balls from Omega Shenron. But Dark Gogeta beats him very easily, so Gogeta goes off to fight Dark Gogeta. While this is happening, Gohan's like, hey, I would like to help Gogeta fight Dark Gogeta, but I'm just not up to par. And then Robel, who we met in the last chapter, offers to help Gohan in this and helps him unleash his potential by triggering the Great Ape transformation the same way that it happened for GT Goku in, Dragon Ball GT. I thought that was a really fun way to do it because we actually see, after he transforms into a Great Ape, we see Dark Gogeta fighting Gogeta, and then a blast comes, and then we actually get a really nice piece of artwork of Super Saiyan 4 Zeno Gohan. He looks pretty cool. And so they go on to pretty much easily take out Dark Gogeta, and then Dark Gogeta starts talking, and he's like, hey, I was just testing out this guy's abilities. And then the strange being just gets deabsorbed, like pushed out. And Gogeta was like, did you really think I'll let you take me over that easily? And that was kind of embarrassing for him, I guess. And this is whenever Demigra shows up. Demigra is pretty cool with his crew. And they face down with Dabura and them. It's a pretty nice little fight. Pretty cool. And then the Demigra's group gets frozen. And we actually find out the whole group gets frozen, the Time Patrol 2, by Supreme Kai Time, who's under the influence of Toa's party. And Gravy's there too. I don't know why, but for some reason I'm endeared to Gravy. I like Gravy. I think he's a funny character. He's got a silly name and he looks silly. I like him. So Robel ends up actually being able to take our heroes away because of her. She wasn't in the proximity of the attack. So she's actually able to teleport them away. And this is Trunks decides that he's going to, of course, get revenge for the Supreme Kai Time Saver, pretty much. And then we actually get a reveal. Pan is like, would you keep it down? It's so noisy. Yeah, Pan shouldn't be here, but she is, because they must have accidentally teleported her with them. So I guess this is going to end up being our Zeno Pan. Overall, I really liked this chapter. This chapter was a lot of fun. I actually think this Super Dragon Ball Heroes Dark Demon Realm mission is hitting its stride here. I liked it a lot, and I can't wait to see where we go next. I just read chapter 14, and oh my gosh, this had a crazy ending. I'm just going to start from the beginning, and then we'll work our way through, and then I'll give my thoughts at the end. First off, Pan decides to join the Time Patrol. She gets a new costume from Robel, and let's see, the mini Demigra. I keep forgetting his name. Camel. He's like, don't get attached, Robel, but Robel's going to get attached anyway, I guess. Demigra needed the GT Dragon Balls from Omega Shenron because he's going to absorb them and add them to his own power. And then he pretty much tells the Time Patrol that they're going to ally to defeat Dabura and Toa and Mechikabura's forces. So that all sounds good, I guess. That makes sense as far as the plot goes. So they decide that they need to go straight to the Demon Realm and break into their headquarters. But there's a bunch of gates, and they're all going to have to go to all the different gates and fight all the different demons. So that's pretty much the setup for this final act of combat here. That's pretty simple. Goten's going to face off Dabura. We don't get that fight yet. Vegeta's going to face off against Gravy. I'm really looking forward to that. I don't know why, but I've really attached myself to Gravy as a character. I think he's pretty neat. I like Gravy. For some reason. I don't know why, but I think he's cool. And then Pan ends up going with Gohan without Gohan realizing it, and they're going to fight Shroom. Now, Shroom, it does appear to be defeated in this chapter. Pan sasses off, and Shroom basically goes for the kill on Pan. That enrages Gohan. Gohan freaks out, turns into a Super Saiyan 4. Really cool moment, and easily kills Shroom at that point. And Shroom, his personality... He's like, I really don't get it. He's kind of like Shikamaru from Dragon Ball. From Naruto, if that makes sense. Not exactly, but he relishes the fight, but he's kind of a poser, I guess you could say. So he's got a really cool design. His personality, not so much. Anyway, we did get a sweet moment with Gohan and Pan though, because while all this is happening, they get into a little argument because Pan keeps on sassing off, and then Gohan's like, "Stop! You're gonna get hurt." And then Pan's like, "I hate you," and then leaves. But then, after Gohan gets paralyzed by Shroom for a moment, Pan comes back, tries to fight Shroom. Shroom pretty much is about to take her out, and that's when Gohan does the Super Saiyan 4 stuff. So that's a cool moment, and she tells her dad she loves him as he collapses to the floor, passing out from, I guess, using too much energy. Then we cut back to Zeno Trunks, and he says one of the demon gods have been defeated, so one of the gates have been cut off. Then we cut to Camel fighting, it looks like Toa, and the strange Dark Gogeta character. They still haven't named what this creature is that absorbs him, but he shows up and he's taking out Camel. And Camel's like, oh my god, what am I going to do? I need to think of something. And all of a sudden, freaking Super Saiyan 4 Broly comes out of nowhere. Now that was a plot twist and a half. That was insane. So Like I said, this series is pretty much here to give you fan service, but I would be lying if I didn't. I would be lying if I said that this fan service did not hit, because this fan service is hitting. It is definitely getting the point across, and I'm really having fun. It's just fun. I like it. Chapter 15. Oh man, where do I start? Well, first off, I'll just start with the recap. Poutine gets taken down by Robel, and then we cut back to the rest of the gang, seemingly done with their fights. The Gohan fight's over with. Apparently, Goten and Vegeta finished their fights. I really was looking forward to the Vegeta and Gravy fight, so I'm really disappointed that happened off panel, because I knew, I don't know why, but for some reason I really liked Gravy, and I was kind of suspecting maybe they would do something like this, but the fact that they did is still disappointing. Anyways, Pan was like, "Oh, Robel, you managed to win." And then Robel's like, "Of course I did. I've been a spy for tens of thousands of years under the guise of a Demon Realm soldier." And then we cut back to Goku in his fight, because Goten was like, "Father still hasn't come back though." So Goku is putting up a pretty good fight, but he actually gets at a disadvantage with the wind magic. He uses the power pole, and that was really fun to see the power pole come back. Then he shoots a Kamehameha as a Super Saiyan, which is always nice. And of course he reunites with them, and they're all ready to go fight the Mechikabura. Oh, but I forgot to mention, before we got to that point though, Camel comes back and he wonders who Super Saiyan 4 Broly was. But Toa ran off, so you know what, Super Saiyan 4 Broly just showed up and left. So I was like, I feel like we were really on a roll, but this chapter was just disappointing for the most part. Supreme Kai Time showed up again and froze them. And then Trunks got visions of her perspective of what it was like whenever she got mind controlled from that moment, and now he's really pissed off. Super Saiyan 3 type stuff, purify the darkness key sword, he says. And Supreme Kai Time gets reverted back to normal. And Pan's like, "Who's that cute kid?" So I think they might be hinting at a friendship between Pan and Supreme Kai Time, I'm not sure. And so they're all ready to go with the final battle against Machikabura. And the last page is, it looks like Machikabura, the worst person, appears, bringing despair with him. So yeah, for the most part, this chapter could have been better, but we got 2 more chapters left. I'm mostly excited to see how they wrap this up. This chapter, I feel like maybe they had a limited amount of chapters they could do, so they had to cut some of the fights short, like the Vegeta and Gravy fight. So yeah, but overall, I was mostly disappointed with this chapter. I'll have to see how I feel about the next 2. Well, Chapter 16 was a bit of a step up from the last chapter. I definitely enjoyed this chapter a bit more than the previous one. Mechikabura looks cool. I assume he absorbed Demigra. He looks a little bit different, and they never addressed Demigra. So I'm assuming that means he probably absorbed him. And they didn't outright state it, but that's my assumption. Anyway, he's pretty powerful. He re-summons his demon people and absorbs them. This also includes Dabura, and Gravy. My guy, Gravy, has been absorbed. And now he's super powerful. He goes off to the Time Nest. Trunks is like, "Okay, well, I guess I gotta go to the Time Nest and take care of business." So he tells Pan to stay behind and guard the other Xeno fighters, right? But then all the Xeno characters are like, "Trunks, we gotta give you a little bit of our energy to help you out, even though we can't come with you." You know, that whole thing. And so we've seen this happen in Dragon Ball plenty of times before, but this time it's different. Supreme Kai Time says, "This power, it's the legend I heard from an angel a long time ago. When 5 pure-hearted Saiyans transfer the power into a single Saiyan, a Saiyan with a special power is born. Is that power now unleashed?" So obviously they retconned the act of giving energy into also being the Super Saiyan God ritual, which was a bit slightly different because you needed 5 pure-hearted Saiyans, yes, but it was more of a ritual. In this case, they did what they usually do, except they also performed, coincidentally, the ritual that they didn't know about, so that's okay. I mean, I'm not too bent out of shape about that. Anyway, Machikabura shows up, and then all of a sudden, Super Saiyan God, Trunks, pops up and is going to defend the Time Nest. So it's cool that this version of Future Trunks is actually getting so much shine. He is the MC, you know, he is the main character, Xeno Trunks. Maybe, you know, because technically this is a version of the Future Trunks that is my favorite character. So it's nice to see a version of my favorite character getting some shine. Super Saiyan God Trunks. And then Toa shows up to try to help Machikabura against Trunks because Trunks is putting up a good fight. But Toa has her creation, the experiment thing, and it's absorbed like a bunch of villains from across time. However, with that said, Supreme Kai Time pretty much stops him and Trunks defeats him. Trunks goes to take care of Machikabura again, but then Machikabura uses his energy, or not his energy, his attack of, like, you know, just controlling his minions and stuff, to pretty much summon Toa to in front of him, to where Trunks accidentally stabs and kills Toa, and then Machikabura absorbs Toa. So that was interesting. And Trunks says, "I'm being sucked in," and then the chapter ends there. So overall, I do think this chapter was a step up from the previous chapter. I enjoyed it. I would say I'm a fan of this chapter, and we've only got one more chapter to go before Dark Demon Realm mission is over, so let's get into it. Well, I just finished the final chapter in Dark Demon Realm mission, and I gotta say, it was pretty enjoyable. So, to pretty much summarize, Demon Gra did not get absorbed like I thought he did, they just didn't mention him, and he actually became instrumental in this final fight against Machikabura. So they got absorbed into the Dark Realm, but then somehow they were pulled out because of Demigra's intervention. Super Saiyan God Trunks decides to work with Demigra, and they both team up to fight Machikabura. Still yet though, Machikabura is powerful. They need the Key Sword, but it was dropped a while back, and then whenever the other Xeno characters show up, Goku happens to have it because he found it. So everybody pretty much puts their best foot forward to pretty much fight Machikabura and pretty much distract him, while the three main players, Demigra, Supreme Kai of Time, and Xeno Trunks, work together to figure out a plan. So what ends up happening is we actually get I forgot to mention this, we got some cool shots of like Goten fighting and Vegito fighting, so that was fun. And then we also see Xeno Trunks with the Key Sword. Of course, he's the sword guy. And he goes to kill Machikabura, but that doesn't kill him. And then all of a sudden, Machikabura gets bound by the power of a Supreme Kai Time God. So it's the power of God, power of light, power of darkness. They use all three abilities to pretty much seal Machikabura away. They win, but the realm is still in darkness until Toki Toki pretty much does his Toki Toki thing and makes everything normal again. And that's pretty much where it ended, with the promise that Demigra is going to strike next or something like that. And Machikabura makes it clear that he's being bound, but not forever. So this was the end of this arc, and I gotta say, it was really enjoyable. I understand that it's not as good as Victory Mission. I think I enjoyed Victory Mission a bit more, but I still enjoyed Dark Demon Realm Mission, and I think the more I read the other volumes, I'll probably enjoy this as a whole, because this is just the first arc in what is going to be several more arcs in the Dragon Ball Heroes continuity. I do want to say that as far as what I liked most about Dark Demon Realm Mission, it was probably the characterization of Xeno Trunks. I liked Xeno. I'm a big Future Trunks fan. He's my favorite character. Like I said before, Xeno Trunks is a version of Future Trunks. I could fold him into me liking Future Trunks. I think there are two continuities for Future Trunks. There's the Super Future Trunks and Heroes Future Trunks. Because as we know from Heroes, Xeno Trunks is Future Trunks from Dragon Ball Z, and he gets inducted into the Time Patrol. Super Trunks is Trunks from Dragon Ball Z, Future Trunks, and he just pretty much goes back to the future, and then Dragon Ball Super happens. I honestly think Xeno Trunks is a more fitting future for Super Trunks than how Super handled Trunks, with how he pretty much became, like, his timeline got destroyed and then he went into a duplicate timeline. Like, that just is not, I'm not the biggest fan of that. So if I had to pick, I would say Xeno Trunks is probably my favorite between the two. I mean, he's also the one getting active story development right now, so it's not that much of a competition. All that being said, though, I enjoyed this one. Dark Demon Realm Mission, definitely a good manga. I wouldn't recommend if you're a Dragon Ball fan. Check this out. The fan service is there, and it's apparent, and the action is good. The art is great. The story moves a little too quick, but I still do enjoy it. Anyways, guys, that will be my review of Dark Demon Rail Mission. What did you guys think of this manga whenever you read it for the first time? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, and if you have something to say, again, let me know in the comments down below. Subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Peace off.